Detective James Foster, haunted by an unsolved case that had plagued the city for decades, found himself pulled back into the darkness he thought he left behind. The Blackwood House, an imposing mansion with a dark history, stood at the center of the mystery. The once grand estate had become a symbol of terror, and its ominous presence cast a long shadow over the quiet town. Part 1. The Mysterious Mansion. Nestled at the edge of the city, the Blackwood House bore witness to unspeakable horrors. Rumors of ghostly apparitions, strange noises, and inexplicable shadows sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to venture near. The mansion had a history of tragedy, a series of gruesome murders that had never been solved. As Foster delved into the dusty archives, he unearthed old police reports, witness statements, and faded photographs. Each detail painted a chilling picture of a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead seemed to blur. The detective's investigation led him to the cold case of the Anderson family, who had mysteriously vanished without a trace. The family's connection to the Blackwood House became evident, and Foster sensed that solving this puzzle would unravel the dark secrets hidden within its walls. Haunted by the memories of the victims, Foster visited the desolate mansion, its windows shattered, and its grandeur replaced by an eerie silence. The air inside was thick with a sense of foreboding, as if the very essence of the tragedy lingered in the decaying rooms. As Foster explored the mansion, he felt a presence, a whisper of the past that sent shivers down his spine. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision, and the temperature plummeted as if unseen eyes were watching his every move. A creaking floorboard echoed through the empty halls, and Foster's flashlight flickered. He pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the Anderson family's disappearance and the malevolent force that seemed to hold the mansion in its grasp. Foster, grappling with the inexplicable phenomena within the Blackwood House, sought the help of Dr. Evelyn Sinclair, a renowned paranormal expert. Dr. Sinclair, skeptical yet intrigued, agreed to join the investigation, bringing with her an array of ghost hunting equipment and a wealth of knowledge about the supernatural. Together, they embarked on a journey that would test the boundaries of reason and plunge them into a realm where the living and the dead collided. As Foster and Dr. Sinclair delved deeper into the mysteries of the Blackwood House, they encountered whispers in the dark, voices of the long departed, seeking to communicate the horrors they had endured. The investigators' skepticism wavered as spectral images flickered in their peripheral vision, leaving an indelible mark on their psyche. The mansion seemed to come alive with a malevolent energy, as if the very walls retained the memories of the tragedy that unfolded within. Driven by an insatiable need for answers, Foster and Dr. Sinclair decided to conduct a seance in the heart of the mansion. The air became heavy with anticipation as they gathered in a dimly lit room, surrounded by flickering candles. With hands joined and minds focused, they called out to the spirits that lingered within the Blackwood House. At first, there was only silence, but as the minutes passed, a chilling breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candles one by one. Whispers grew louder, and the temperature dropped drastically. The investigator and the paranormal expert felt the weight of unseen eyes upon them, and the shadows seemed to writhe in response to the ethereal presence. The seance unleashed a torrent of unearthly visions, fragmented glimpses into the past. Foster and Dr. Sinclair witnessed the final moments of the Anderson family, trapped in a nightmare from which they could not escape. A spectral figure, obscured in darkness, emerged from the shadows. The tortured souls of the family pleaded for release, their anguished cries reverberating through the haunted halls. The investigator and the paranormal expert were left shaking, their understanding of reality shattered by the spectral images that had manifested before them. The visions intensified, revealing a malevolent force that had claimed the Blackwood House as its own. Foster and Dr. Sinclair discerned a dark ritual, a binding that fused the spirits of the deceased with the sinister energy emanating from the mansion. As the investigators sought to unravel the truth, the malevolent force seemed to retaliate. Objects moved of their own accord. Phantom footsteps echoed in the distance, and an unseen presence toyed with their sanity. the line between the living and the dead blurred further, plunging them into a nightmarish descent. Through tireless research and relentless exploration, Foster and Dr. Sinclair uncovered the origins of the curse that shackled the Blackwood House. A vengeful soul, wronged in life and bound by a malevolent pact, sought retribution against those who had trespassed upon its domain. The investigators realized that breaking the curse required confronting the tormented spirit and unraveling the dark secrets buried within the mansion's history. Guided by the revelations of their investigation, Foster and Dr. Sinclair prepared for a final confrontation with the malevolent force that lurked within the Blackwood House. Armed with ancient incantations and the knowledge gleaned from their otherworldly experiences, they entered the heart of the mansion, where the curse's grip was strongest. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, the air grew frigid, and the oppressive presence intensified. The tormented souls of the Anderson family manifested before them, trapped in a perpetual loop of agony. The investigators braced themselves for the battle that would decide the fate of the living and the dead. In the heart of the mansion, Foster and Dr. Sinclair confronted the vengeful spirit that held the Anderson family in its spectral grip. The malevolent force materialized before them, a manifestation of pain and rage, and a voice echoed through the chamber, recounting a cursed pact forged in blood. The spirit revealed its name, Elias Blackwood, a once prominent figure with a dark secret. He had made a Faustian bargain for power, a deal that damned not only himself but generations that followed. As the tale unfolded, the investigator and the paranormal expert understood the magnitude of the curse that bound the mansion. Determined to break the curse, Foster and Dr. Sinclair engaged in a battle of wills with Elias Blackwood. The very air vibrated with malevolence as the entity sought to ensnare their minds and torment their souls. Armed with incantations, relics, and the resilience born from their harrowing journey, the investigators chanted words that echoed through the haunted halls. The mansion itself seemed to groan, resisting the intrusion into its cursed history. As the incantations reached a crescendo, the truth behind Elias Blackwood's curse unraveled. Betrayed by those he trusted, the once prominent figure had become a vessel for darkness, perpetuating his agony through the suffering of others. The investigators felt the weight of centuries of anguish as they glimpsed Elias's tragic past. The curse was a cycle of vengeance and despair, and breaking it required not only confronting the malevolent spirit, but offering redemption to a tormented soul. In a moment of profound sacrifice, Foster and Dr. Sinclair offered solace to Elias Blackwood. The investigator, guided by empathy, spoke words of understanding and forgiveness. The paranormal expert, channeling her knowledge of ancient rituals, sought to sever the cursed pact that bound Elias to the mansion. As their voices resonated, the oppressive presence lifted, and the tormented spirits of the Anderson family found peace. The mansion's shadows seemed to retreat, leaving behind an eerie calm. But the investigators knew that the true test awaited them in the aftermath of the spiritual battle. The Blackwood House, once a place of unspeakable horror, now stood silent. The malevolent force that had plagued the town for generations had dissipated, leaving only lingering echoes of the supernatural. Foster and Dr. Sinclair, exhausted but triumphant, emerged from the haunted mansion into the dim light of dawn. Yet, as they looked back at the mansion, a question lingered in their minds. Was the curse truly broken, or were there still shadows waiting to be unveiled? In the wake of the spiritual battle, a fragile peace settled over the Blackwood House. The town, once gripped by the suffocating fear that emanated from the mansion, breathed a collective sigh of relief. The malevolent force was gone, and the lingering echoes of agony had subsided. Detective James Foster and Dr. Evelyn Sinclair, hailed as heroes by some and skeptics by others, faced the aftermath of their harrowing ordeal. As they returned to their normal lives, a sense of closure lingered, but shadows of doubt crept into their minds. Despite the apparent peace, Foster couldn't shake the feeling that something remained unresolved. Dreams plagued his sleep, vivid visions of the mansion, whispers in the dark, and the haunting gaze of Elias Blackwood. Each night, he found himself drawn back to the place he had hoped to leave behind. Dr. Sinclair, too, grappled with a nagging doubt. The paranormal expert, grounded in scientific inquiry, questioned whether their actions had truly severed the malevolent force's grip on the Blackwood house or merely masked it temporarily. One day, as Foster sifted through case files in his office, a cryptic letter arrived. The envelope bore no return address, and the message inside was a series of enigmatic symbols. A chill ran down his spine as he recognized the unmistakable mark of Elias Blackwood. The letter hinted at a hidden truth, a revelation that transcended the boundaries of the supernatural. Foster, driven by an insatiable need for answers, shared the mysterious message with Dr. Sinclair. Together, they embarked on a new investigation, determined to uncover the secrets that still lurked in the shadows. As Foster and Dr. Sinclair delved into the cryptic message, they unearthed a forgotten chapter of the Blackwood house's history. The mansion, it seemed, was a convergence point for unseen forces, a nexus where the veil between the living and the dead was thin. Guided by the cryptic symbols, the investigators discovered hidden passages, forgotten chambers, and symbols etched into the very foundation of the mansion. The more they uncovered, the more they realized that Elias Blackwood's malevolent force was but one facet of a much larger ancient power. The symbols pointed to a specific location within the Blackwood house, a long-forgotten chamber hidden beneath layers of decay and time. Foster and Dr. Sinclair, fueled by a sense of duty and an unrelenting curiosity, stood at the crossroads of destiny, ready to confront the forces that had manipulated the fate of the mansion for centuries. The air in the hidden chamber crackled with energy as the investigators prepared to unravel the mysteries that lay dormant in the depths of the Blackwood house. As Foster and Dr. Sinclair entered the hidden chamber beneath the Blackwood house, an otherworldly ambience enveloped them. The walls seemed to pulse with a strange energy, and ancient symbols glowed faintly in the dim light. The chamber, untouched by time, held secrets that transcended the limits of the investigators' understanding. In the center of the room stood an ancient pedestal, upon which rested a weathered tome bound in leather. The pages whispered with forgotten incantations and revealed the true nature of the forces that had manipulated the fate of the mansion. The tome recounted a pact made centuries ago, a pact that bound the Blackwood family to an entity known as the Keeper of Eternity. Elias Blackwood, in his pursuit of power, had unwittingly become the vessel for this enigmatic force, becoming both its conduit and its prisoner. The investigators realized that breaking the curse required confronting the Keeper of Eternity and unraveling the intricate web of ancient magic that bound it to the Blackwood house. The Pact of Eternity, it seemed, was a covenant that transcended life and death. Armed with the knowledge from the ancient tome, Foster and Dr. Sinclair embarked on a perilous journey to perform the ritual of liberation. The ritual required a delicate balance of spiritual strength and arcane precision. As they chanted the incantations, the symbols on the chamber walls glowed brighter, and the very fabric of reality seemed to waver. The investigators felt the presence of the Keeper of Eternity stir, a force that had slumbered for centuries. The air crackled with magic as the ritual reached its crescendo, and the destiny of the Blackwood house hung in the balance. As the ritual unfolded, the boundaries between dimensions blurred, and Foster and Dr. Sinclair found themselves standing at the crossroads of the living and the eternal. The chamber became a convergence point where the Keeper of Eternity and the investigators' fates intertwined. Spectral images materialized around them, the tortured souls of the Blackwood family, Elias Blackwood, and the ethereal entity that held them captive. The investigators braced themselves for a confrontation that transcended the mortal realm. In the ethereal plane, the Keeper of Eternity spoke with a voice that echoed through the ages. It lamented its role as a guardian bound to a curse, a fate it could not escape. The entity, once perceived as malevolent, revealed a sorrowful aspect, a being burdened by the weight of centuries. Foster and Dr. Sinclair, caught between sympathy and duty, sought a path to liberation that would break the chains that bound the Keeper and the Blackwood house. Guided by compassion, Foster and Dr. Sinclair unraveled the intricate threads of the ancient pact. They spoke words that echoed with empathy and understanding, challenging the very foundation of the curse. The Keeper of Eternity, touched by the sincerity of the investigators, relinquished its hold on the Blackwood family. In a surge of blinding light, the pact that bound the mansion for centuries began to unravel. The tortured souls found release, and the Blackwood house stood on the precipice of a new era. As the ritual concluded, Foster and Dr. Sinclair glimpsed a vision of a realm beyond mortal comprehension. They saw the Keeper of Eternity, free from the chains of its cursed duty, ascend to a plane of existence untouched by time. The Blackwood house, once a nexus of darkness, began to transform. Its decaying walls seemed to rejuvenate, and an otherworldly glow emanated from within. The investigators, awestruck by the unfolding miracle, realized that they had witnessed the birth of a new chapter for the mansion. With the Keeper of Eternity released, the echoes of agony that had plagued the Blackwood house for centuries faded into silence. The tortured spirits of the past found peace, and the mansion stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit against the forces of darkness. Foster and Dr. Sinclair, exhausted yet triumphant, emerged from the hidden chamber. The weight of the centuries-old curse had lifted, and the town, now free from the shadows of the past, embraced a newfound serenity. As the sun rose on the horizon, casting its warm light upon the Blackwood house, Foster and Dr. Sinclair stood together. The once haunted mansion, now bathed in the gentle glow of dawn, seemed to breathe with newfound life. The investigators, forever changed by their journey, shared a quiet moment of reflection. The town, unaware of the otherworldly battles fought within the mansion's walls, embraced a future untethered from the specters of its dark past. In the days that followed, the tale of Foster and Dr. Sinclair's extraordinary journey became a local legend. Whispers of the Blackwood house persisted, but they were no longer laced with fear. Instead, it carried a sense of reverence for the resilience of the human spirit and the mysteries that lingered in the shadows. As the investigators moved on with their lives, the wind carried whispers of gratitude. Echoes of the past transformed into a gentle breeze that whispered tales of redemption and a new dawn for the Blackwood house. And thus, the story of Shadows of the Past comes to a close. If you enjoyed the journey, or if you have any other requests, feel free to let me know.